All right. At least you're not going to sing again, right?
No, no, of course not. Well, maybe, Ben. I just have one question for you, Ben. Are you ready?
Am I ready?
Are you ready? This Sunday night, when WWE Champion Thrawn defends his title in the WWE Super Slam. All right.
Well, I know what I'm photoshopping for Instagram this week. That won't even be hard, too. I can make John Cena blue and turn his eyes red.
Perfect.
Yeah, people are going to love it.
They better love it. So yeah, it's Words About Books. I'm Nate. That's Ben. You know what we're about. We're talking about our Blue Boy, and we are on part 2. And Ben, what is that on your face? Pocket Coke. Now, Ben, you are going.
I'm at your mercy.
Yeah, you are going to recap part 1 real quick, or I'm going to call the cops.
Do that.
Well, then you're gonna go to jail for 50 years.
Okay, part 1. Here's what we covered. Thrawn is an alien exile. He gets picked up by the Empire, and he tells the Emperor that they have a common enemy, and that he needs the Empire's help. And he joins the Empire. He goes back to high school with his translator / butt boy Eli Vanto, and then there's also a lady named Arihnda Pryce. She's kind of doing this Breaking Bad thing where she starts out like naive girl she's not really naive. She's actually very psychopathic from the get-go, but she's from small town. She dreams of the big city. She goes to the big city. She becomes instantly corrupt, and she eventually becomes a space governor. And Thrawn rises through the ranks, doing one Sherlock Holmesian trick at a time. And he eventually gets his own ship, and he gets his own nemesis, a guy named Night Swan, who is a Moriarty to his Holmes. And I think we ended, it's tough for me to pinpoint the exact minute we ended, but I think we ended before the vulture droids? No, after the vulture droids.
Yeah, he won his court-martial and also his promotion. He is now Commander Thrawn.
Yeah, so we're moving sort of into the end game of the book here. Now, the book is, I don't know if we made this clear. I mean, they're Dunium. We mentioned that. But the whole final conflict is going to revolve around a Dunium strike. Thrawn's going union
obviously
busting.
That's obviously where we're heading this whole time. We need to mention he stops some slavers, I guess.
He doesn't though.
Well, you're right. Sorry. He stops people from freeing slaves.
Yeah.
The opposite of what I said.
Yeah.
Now, at the very least, he doesn't seem, like, happy about it. He's not like, oh, I love slaves, It's kind of like, well, I've just been ordered to kind of accept that, slavery's part of the Empire.
Well, I'll tell you what's even more interesting is Eli Vanto isn't cool with it. Like, there's other Imperials. A lot of Imperials, surprisingly, are not cool with it. So much so that the Emperor has to keep this slavery operation totally off the books and totally secret and classified, and nobody will talk about it. And I don't know where they're going with that, because I can tell you in the second book, Thrawn doesn't free any slaves, but...
we never think about it again.
I guess it's nice that he feels bad about it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, that's pretty good, right?
On one hand, I was like, well, they're kind of trying to make Thrawn the good guy in this, but yeah, I guess there are limits, because if he did let the slaves get away, I mean, Palpatine's gonna axe him.
Yeah, probably literally. So, yeah, what else does Thrawn do? I think, are we just gonna move to the Dunium strike? he goes
he burns some cocaine.
Yeah, he catches some guys who have some sort of smuggling operation with like fish or some shit, and
there's a spice mine on their planet where they mine this spice out of the ground.
Oh, that one. Yeah, there's a dispute between two sides, and there's spice, and he burns it all up, and there's a TIE fighter guy who's like an asshole to Butt Boy, and yeah.
But then Butt Boy, because Thrawn helps Arihnda Pryce, the Butt Boy is able to become Chief Butt Boy.
Yeah. Commander-in-Chief Butt Boy. He's the leader of all Butt Boys in the entire Empire. While still being a Butt Boy himself.
Yeah, it's not an insignificant number of people, which might surprise you.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Empire. It doesn't surprise me.
I mean, I'm ready to jump to the final battle because I feel like the Moriarty, the rest of this just establishes Night Swan.
So Thrawn becomes a Commodore with a little funny hat with a feather in it, and then he also becomes an Admiral. And that is where we are. Admiral Thrawn is going to, he's gonna get his Moriarty. And there's some sort of, I can't remember, was it a smuggling operation? And like another Admiral comes in to stop it, and the planet starts shooting at him. And then Thrawn and Eli pretend to be smugglers.
Yeah.
This is the reveal of Signy. Because Eli and Thrawn, they go back with the smugglers. They're pretending to be smugglers. And Eli gets brought in, and it's like, oh my god, it's Signy! He's like, yes, it is I, the only named pirate, other than that one guy who was obviously an idiot. And it's a shame that I had to kill Thrawn. He's the one who's definitely being shot over that planet from earlier.
You know, as much as I pick on the Scooby-Doo of it all, when they were like Eli walks in and he sees the guy and he's like, oh my god, Signy? I was like, who the hell is Signy? and I had to think, I was like, who the heck? That sounds so very familiar. And I was like, Magni? No, that's King of the Dwarves.
Yeah. Big reveal. It would have been funny if Eli were like, you look familiar. He's like, yeah, you remember me from years ago when I held you at gunpoint and I held you and Thrawn and all your crew hostage. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of daring heroics.
Yeah. And Signy is like, I'm going to... Well, first of all, they're like, wow, there's part of his ship has been irradiated. And Signy's like, yeah, well, that's a trick that I used. So I know that there's actually just stowaways ready to get us. And then Thrawn had some sort of thing where he rigged a blaster to explode when Eli pushed a button on an insignia.
Yeah, he does the thing that they do in movies where he gives Eli a thing to push, and he's like, you'll know when. You'll know when to push it. And it's like, you could just tell me when to push it. This seems like really irresponsible.
Yeah, it would have been really weird if he was like, oh my god, it's Signy! Pushes the button and it explodes in his own hand.
Yeah, because like...
He's just like, oh god, my hand is on fire! Why didn't you tell me, Thrawn?
Like, there were a million things that could have gone wrong. Thrawn was not in control of this situation. Like, what if he wound up surrounded and was like, oh, now it's when I do it.
And you just blow a hole in your pants and also your leg.
Yep.
Yeah. But they managed to get out. I actually don't know what Thrawn was trying to do there. I was playing Resident Evil 4 at the time, so... Wait a minute.
You're listening to the audiobook while you're playing a video game.
Yeah, Ben.
And
Ben, what was Thrawn trying to do?
You expect people to listen to your podcast.
What was his plan? Yes, while playing a video game. If you're playing Resident Evil 4 right now while listening to this podcast, good on you. Please, oh god, you can't tweet us anymore. Shit.
Yeah, you can. It just goes into a void.
Write us a letter and mail it to us.
You can email us still.
Why would you bother? USPS, bro. So what was Thrawn trying to do, Ben?
So I think what Thrawn was trying to do was get one of their ships. What he ultimately does is get one of their ships, and he uses the navigational data to sort of pinpoint some of their stuff. But in actuality, he's also trying to figure out what the Empire's secret project is. And he knows that Night Swan is also trying to figure out what the Empire's secret project is. And he thinks that between the two of them, they could probably get it.
Okay, that's right. I think he does get some sort of code or something as well, maybe. Does that sound right? That sounds right to me.
He's on a quest for information.
Because, yes, Thrawn will then have a private conversation, perhaps a little bit of red wine and a finely cooked steak with Signy in an open field where no one can see us or, in fact, shoot us. Let's go talk down there.
They do have a romantic rendezvous.
Yeah, they do. And Thrawn's like, you can come back with me to the Ascendancy. Well, not back with me. I'm going to stay in the Empire. But you go to the Ascendancy because you could be useful to the Chiss. And Signy turns him down, Ben. This is how you do will they, won't they romance. A forbidden romance, Ben. You don't have to add incest. You just
we haven't done this in a while. Why don't you be Thrawn and I'll be Signy, and you just try to convince me?
All right. Well, first I should mention that my whole plan was to infiltrate the Empire. You see, I wasn't a castaway. This was part of the plan of the Chiss Ascendancy. And Signy, the Empire may have an evil space wizard leading it, but someday he will pass away, and I will be in a position to help choose a successor, and we will have order and stability. And evil space wizard's gonna want me to execute the shit out of you as evilly as possible, but you could still go to the Chiss Ascendancy. How do you feel about that? You'd be a useful tool?
Well, Thrawn, it's a tempting offer. But every once in a while, a man has to make a moral stand, you know? Every once in a while, a man has to decide after, I don't know, a dozen failed schemes that this scheme's the one that has to last. And I'm gonna die pointlessly on this mining world whose name I've already forgotten.
Okay, you could do that. Or you could fake your death and live a life of trying to bring order and stability to a galaxy that is always primed to fall apart at the drop of a hat.
Nah, Thrawn. I'm an old man, already 35 years old. I've only got, another, I don't know, maybe 55 years? Maybe just, sitting around always wondering, where's the next scheme going? Are they gonna stuff the Dunium in the clams the way I told them to this time, or are they gonna fuck it up again? And you know what? I'm sick of stuffing Dunium in clams, Thrawn. I'm gonna die in a mining explosion. It's not glamorous. It's not even gonna achieve anything. People won't remember my name because I never gave them my name. But you know what, Thrawn? It's a stand. It's what a man would do. And all your facts and logic and science, you don't understand what it takes to provide hope. That's hope. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm providing hope to the galaxy.
Okay, but counterpoint, all the people you're providing hope to are going to die in a mining accident / mining purposeful explosion.
Well, that just multiplies the hope. That's just more hope.
I don't think that's how that works. I mean, I haven't lived...
Every orphan child is just that much more hope.
I haven't been in the Empire for as long as you have, okay? Back where
you ever
I'm
met
from,
a hero that wasn't an orphan child? I'm creating a galaxy of heroes.
Yes, this is true. I don't think they all become heroes, though. I think most of them just become casuals.
Well, Thrawn, that's just where you just wouldn't understand the human spirit.
Well, I mean, you could still, we could still blow the mine up and create the orphans, and then you could go to the Ascendancy and, have a purpose.
It doesn't work if I'm not there. I'll be honest with you, Thrawn, I'm tired. I'm tired of the schemes.
You don't have to have schemes then.
Well,
We'd
then
set you up
man.
with a nice desk job.
A desk job, Thrawn. You think I want to do a desk job? No, Thrawn. I'm the cowboy that goes off into the sunset. I'll be honest with you, Thrawn. I've always had a very peculiar mental condition, Thrawn. I've always had a very peculiar mental condition. Like, I have a particular delusion where I'm a character in a book. And I have a purpose and an arc. And it's time for that arc to end.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I feel nothing. This is the only way you can feel alive.
I can't go to the Chiss Ascendancy, Thrawn, because we both know there's another character who needs to go, who would perhaps be more narratively satisfying. But it's not time for that reveal yet, Thrawn. So I have to go off into the sunset, no matter how attracted I am to you.
Okay, but that sunset is an explosion. You're just so we're both clear on that. That is not a sunset.
I push my finger to your lips, and then I just kiss you on the mouth. And then I walk away. And you're too stunned to reply. But then the Secret Service guy comes out and he's like, "Are you just kissing Night Swan?" Is that what I just saw?
No. Wait. Yes. I knew you were there behind that bush the whole time. I knew that this is how you got your jollies. Listen here. You don't tell and I won't tell, alright?
It was all part of my clever scheme to get Night Swan's DNA. I only regret that I didn't get a larger sample. Did I lose you? Oh, you're just laughing that loud.
Oh, God. Oh.
That's why we don't do skits anymore.
All right. God damn. Yeah. So the big reveal there is Thrawn was never exiled, and Night Swan knows that he is not going to be in any future books or Star Wars media, so it's time for him to close that loop.
Yep. No loose ends. That's the Night Swan way.
So Thrawn is like, I wanna solve this, maybe not peacefully, but with like as few casualties as possible. Whereas Arihnda is like, Arihnda? I think it's Arihnda. Yeah. Arihnda, I keep spelling her name different ways each time in my notes. Arihnda, she wants to go get her parents and also murder a Secret Service guy and then blow up the mine to cover up her crimes.
I don't think she wants to do that. I think she just kind of like improvs. So like improv is dangerous. People need to know that. You should never improvise. Certainly not comedy. For God's sake, not plans to rescue civilians.
Yeah, well, so her reasoning was she wanted to get her parents.
Yeah, she wants to get her parents out of there.
But the Secret Service guy is like, no one goes. Like, he's just like this weird, inflexible asshole. Like,
there's a lot of weird things going on there. Like, the first weird thing is that in the hyper-corrupt empire, Arihnda Pryce can't just be like, yeah, pull my parents out of there.
Yeah.
She could, just do that. Just do that.
You're the governor of a planet.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I'm the governor of this planet over here. I'm telling you, get my parents out of there right now.
You know what she does? She calls the Secret Service into her office. Pocket cocaine. Now,
there you go.
Now, if you don't want to get arrested, you're going to have to do exactly what I say because you're covered in cocaine. I'll just tell everybody that's your cocaine. And, but yeah, she doesn't do that.
So she goes down there personally.
Yeah. So Thrawn's against her going down.
I wonder why that is. Like,
well, I think
I wonder why.
Thrawn probably knows her parents better than she does because he's actually, checked up on them.
Yeah, she just kind of strand them here. She's like, hey, I got you a new job at another mine. See you in a few decades. Bye.
I think Thrawn rightly concludes that there's a good chance that, there's a strike at a mine, right? And her parents work at the mine, and they're pretty high up at the mine. They might be involved in the strike. Like, it's not a big leap of logic on Thrawn's part, and this is the first time that ever occurs to Arihnda Pryce. So, anyway, she goes down, and this is like an immense clusterfuck.
Oh, yeah.
So they go to the mine. I'm going to describe this in my way, where I marathon through something.
Yada yada yada.
No.
Guy dies.
I'll go.
Okay.
So we gotta sneak past the picket line. So we sneak past the picket line. I pretend I'm dating the Secret Service guy that's with me, and then I get to my parents' house, and I'm like, guys, we gotta find my boyfriend's friend here because he works in the mine. They're like, oh, what's his name? And they're like, well, his name's Joe, but you probably wouldn't know him as Joe because he changes his name a lot. And the dad's like, well, that's lame. Guess we'll have to go down to the mine together and find him. And so they go down to the mine together and find him.
Well, they don't want him to go, but you can only go if I'm with you.
But he doesn't. So the friend doesn't exist. This is all planned just to poke around the mine, see what we can find. Maybe sabotage a shield generator or two, set some explosives, sabotage any insurgent weapons. And they're looking around. Arihnda is like, "Oh man, how am I going to get out of this one?" So the plan she concocts is, I'm going to go behind a car, and I'm going to call my dad, and I'm going to pretend to be my mom, and I'm going to be like, oh, Dad, I'm real sick. You got to come back. I mean, husband, what? Fuck. Oh, shit. I'm so sick. I'm delirious. You got to come home. And he's like, oh my God, we've got to go. And she comes back and she's like, Dad, what's wrong? Oh, Mom called me too. Yeah, we gotta go. But we're gonna leave him here. Shut up, Dad. No, come on, we're gonna leave him here. He'll be here for like an hour. And the dad's like, well, no, I can't leave him here for like an hour because that's like, it's like counterpoint, Dad. Like, let's just leave him here for 15 minutes. And it's like, so they leave him there.
And we gotta leave through a different way that we came, or because they'll know otherwise.
Yeah, they'll know.
So
like, so she goes back and they get back and the mom's fine and the dad's like, what? What is even reality? Have I been tricked? And she's like, yeah, Dad, you're a fucking moron. I stole Mom's cell phone. I forgot about that. There's a whole like scene where she steals Mom's cell phone.
She has a different cell phone that's the same model, and
there's so many goddamn this is so over-engineered. Like she went in with the plan to fake. It's so weird.
This is your D&D players talking to you about this plan that you're like,
oh
okay, this isn't gonna work, but like, I guess I'm just gonna run with it at this point. Like, let's see what happens.
So they get back and she's like, Dad, Mom, you gotta pack. We're getting out of here. And they're like, but what about all our friends? And what about all the people? She's like,
just pack.
Fuck them.
Come on.
Fuck them.
And it takes
Let's
forever to get them to pack. It's just like, come on.
Just like, well,
like, there's a suitcase. You put stuff in it. You've got 10 minutes. Let's go.
Sorry, honey. I just needed to pack all your school trophies and all your albums.
That is what she does.
It's like, oh my God,
it's
Mom,
like, You once wrote me a poem when you were in kindergarten, and I needed to find that real quick. It's like...
Then, so the mom takes too long to pack up all the school photos and stuff, and Secret Agent Man comes back, and he's beat up, and he's like, you left me there, even though that was kind of the plan. And he's like, what do you think you're doing? Trying to get your family out of here? Yeah, well, that's not part of the plan. In the Empire, we don't get our families out of places, except sometimes we do, because you already did at the beginning of the book. And then...
In the Empire, we just kill our families. That's what Palpatine would want.
I think you're trying to trick me. And she's like, no, I would never trick you, no. And he's like, well, you know what? I rigged the explosives, and here is a detailed description of how I rigged the explosives and exactly how to detonate them in case you should have to do that for some reason I cannot foresee. And then she shoots him in the face and takes his cell phone. And then she's like, happy now, Mom? You got a little urgency in your step now? Can we go? Can we go before they find the dead body in your living room, Mom? And she's like, Arihnda, oh my God, you've changed. And then the dad comes down and he's like, did you just kill that guy? And she's like, and that's not the only guy I'm going to kill. And so they're getting out of the city, and Arihnda is just lost it. She has snapped. Whatever, like, there's this whole, like, oh, is she, like, getting slowly darker as time goes on throughout this book? But you know what? She got the taste for blood, and she loved it. She likes...
She's well over that cliff at this point.
Yeah, there's like guards on the picket line that aren't going to let him through, and she like ninja smoke bombs and then assassinates him. And then the dad's like, I think my daughter might be killing a bunch of people. I don't know how I feel about this. And so the dad's like shell-shocked, and they're walking out of the city. And then they need a bigger distraction. They need a real big distraction this time. So Arihnda despite having very detailed instructions. No, perhaps on purpose. I think she calculatedly does this.
She does it on purpose.
Yeah, and that's why he had to give a detailed explanation so that you know she was doing this on purpose. So
yeah,
explosions, right? They explode out, and that's where the energy goes. But what
yeah,
if there's
that's how that works.
What if there's nowhere to go? What if perhaps there is a shield generator still online that traps the explosion from within?
Oh my god.
And so that's what Arihnda does. She blows up the weapons without blowing up the shield generator, thus incinerating the entire town. No survivors, whole families, no orphans. She's not here to give hope. And she even blew up Night Swan too, destroying his whole thing. He's not remembered by anyone now except Thrawn and that tender kiss that they shared in the field.
And the Secret Service agent in the bushes.
Yeah, he watched that too. So that's a memory they'll treasure forever because Night Swan is gone. And Arihnda gets back up to the ship and everybody knows she did it. Like, everybody's like, okay, first off, why do you have his phone? And she's like, oh, he died. Yeah, he died heart attack.
Yeah. In his dying breath, he handed this to me and said he wanted me to have it.
Yeah, there's something going around. Like, my mom was sick too. Wasn't my mom sick? And the dad's just like, I don't even know you anymore. Like, I don't want any part of this. Like, I think I might have to walk off into a sunset. Oh my god.
Keep it up, Dad. You just might.
But it's time for Thrawn to do something. What does Thrawn do? I'll be honest with you. The Arihnda thing kind of took me off guard.
Thrawn is like, I must have a word with you. And she's like, no, you don't get to talk to me like that. I'm a governor. You will address me as her royal governorship. And next time, you will bow before me.
And the thing is, Thrawn starts off the conversation by saying, like, her royal governorship or something. And she's just like, she's very insecure about what she did. And Thrawn's like, okay, look, we all know you did a genocide, right? Like, we're just going to leave that elephant in the room. And she's like, you know what? You're a political idiot. You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. You can't handle the truth. Places, parties, and you don't even talk about it. I don't remember the whole speech from A Few Good Men. Maybe I'll edit it in.
You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
But, like, she gives him the whole thing, the whole Jack Nicholson. But she doesn't go to jail at the end. She just continues being a governor, like in real life.
Yeah, that's true.
Does Thrawn even have a big, like, military climax?
No, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. But he becomes a Grand Admiral because he solved the situation here.
Yep.
I think he did promise Signy, like, I will try my best to keep the casualties to a minimum.
Okay, Signy, circumstances were beyond my control. There was a governor, you see. Fortunately, he's not coming back as a Force Ghost,
that's what he's saying to the Ashes.
Yeah.
Signy's not going to be in Rush Hour 3. You know what I mean.
Well, Signy, there's going to be a whole bunch of hope at the end of this one. I've been reliably informed that no one's ever really gone, so cling to that. Palpatine came back somehow. Maybe Signy will.
Somehow, Signy returned. Oh, and that's the end. He sends Eli to the Ascendancy. I don't know how you swing that. Isn't that going AWOL?
I don't know. I was trying to remember, and I failed to remember because I'm not going to go back and listen to our other episodes. I can't remember if Eli's in the next book.
No, you never mentioned him before.
That doesn't mean he wasn't in the book.
Oh, okay. Well, I did re-listen to the episode, and I know you never mentioned him.
Look, in that book, Thrawn and Darth Vader fight crimes. I didn't pay attention to anyone else. They go across the Outer Rim, busting small-time criminals. I loved it. But yeah, so that's that.
Yeah.
So that's the story of how Thrawn became Thrawn. That's the Thrawn origin story, kind of. Except there's room for another origin story where Thrawn was in the Chiss Ascendancy, which they are 100% going to write if they haven't already.
I think that they have another Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy.
I swear somebody in one of the Disney Plus shows mentions Thrawn by name, so they got to be planning something with him.
Thrawn's been on Rebels. You knew
Yeah,
that,
I mean
though.
like a real show, though, like with people.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Well,
I guess the real shows don't have that many people now. Like there's a puppet that talks to a CGI Luke Skywalker, I guess.
There's Thrawn Ascendancy, there's Chaos Rising, and then Greater Good, and then Lesser Evil. Those all came out in the last 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 2021 was
What
when
an age of Thrawn. In the last 2 years, we got more Thrawn books than ever existed before. In the entire like 30-year run of the expanded universe. We talked about it a little bit in the Thrawn Alliances one we did, but you hadn't read it yet. You were only going on my word that like, and I did a terrible retelling. I think that was what happened in those episodes. I did a terrible retelling.
I don't think so. There were only 5 places to land on that planet.
Yeah, the parking spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I ended it with it, and it was the best Thrawn book I ever read. And I don't know if I really did it justice because
you did.
These are pretty good. Do you want to? I hesitate to say this because we got a lot of time left. Do you want to bust out the rubric?
Oh my god! Let's do it.
Let's do it. I want to have a proper final thoughts, and then I want this episode to be short because I don't want to have to spend a lot of time editing it.
Good call. All right, let's bust out this rubric.
I'm just curious. Did you do one for this?
Not yet. I need to. I'm really behind on doing those.
So I did one for this and I posted it on the blog. So if you want to see my whole like actual review where it's not words about book silliness.
I think that we're probably in the same, I would guess we're in the same point range. So content and ideas, Ben. And this is on our blog. We've busted out the rubric many times before. If you're listening to this is like our 11th Thrawn episode. You know the rubric. Your words about books, veteran.
Yeah, the rubric, we've got just a quick overview. We got 5 categories. In each category, you can get scored 1 through 5. Each number has an assigned point value. It adds up to 100 points. We think it's a pretty as close to objective way of reviewing as you can get. Or at least I do. With some room built in for preference. So, content and ideas.
You want me to go first or you want to
go
first?
You go first.
I would probably say a 4. I wouldn't say it's like overwhelmingly like some sort of huge original idea. That's probably because it's Star Wars still at the end of the day, but it's different. It makes me think of the Empire as not just like evil, horrible assholes in space who are doing evil genocides all over the place. There's actually, like, I get why Thrawn wants the Empire to stick around. It is a source of stability and security, and in exchange, yeah, you have to lose some of those freedoms, but, you know...
Or all of them in the case of the
Yeah,
Wookiees.
or all of them, yeah, yeah. But, you know, we get to have, we get to have some measure of security, and we're not going to have another fucking Clone War or worse.
I gave it a 4 as well. I was debating 3 or 4, and I decided to give it a little bit of a Star Wars curve because Star Wars is so hampered and restricted by continuity and future movie plans and all that crap. And so it's so easy to just write another book about the main cast, or about Palpatine, or about Darth Vader, or any of the video game characters, or anything like that. To choose to bring back Thrawn, give Timothy Zahn such freedom to really build the character, and through him, build a more nuanced and interesting empire, I think that is like, it's not an original idea. This is basically Sherlock Holmes in space, in Star Wars.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was going to say I like it. It's not super original because our criteria for this is like original ideas and plot points are presented and clearly developed. This doesn't really fit that, but it's fresh. It is clearly developed. It establishes Thrawn as a much better character than he was. And it
Yeah.
is so rare these days where you can say something new going on in Star Wars is better than something previously happened in Star Wars. So
Yeah.
I do think it deserves a lot of credit for that, for just overcoming the hurdles of the bureaucracy. As much as they make fun of bureaucracy in the book, like,
Isn't it funny? A lot of the times when that's being made fun of, it is a bureaucracy making fun of it.
yeah, if we make fun of it, you can't. That's
Yeah.
the rule.
Yeah, that's true.
And the next category, organization. This involves like the framing devices and pacing and stuff like that.
I think I'd probably lean towards a 3 because of all the Pryce stuff. It's two novels that are kind of attached, and they only sync up at like 2 different points, I think.
Yeah, I give it a 3 as well. And to be honest, a 3 is kind of generous because the choice to mix the Pryce stuff in is just baffling. I even with knowing she's a tie-in character from a popular cartoon, it still doesn't make any damn sense. But her story doesn't suck. I think that's an important thing. So that if the Arihnda Pryce story had been just a little worse, this would be a 2. But it didn't wind up making it drag. It did hurt the pacing, but I was still interested in I was interested enough in what she was doing that I can go for a 3.
Word choice, I'm not sure about that one. What do you think?
So I went for a 4.
Okay.
Pretty high. Again, this is a little bit on a Star Wars curve. I think first off, there's a big improvement in Timothy Zahn's writing from like the first Thrawn book to this Thrawn book.
That's fair.
Night and day. I'm not purely going based on that. I do think he's managed to trim it down to like what works and what doesn't work. This is one of the few Star Wars books that bothers to distinguish between what an ion cannon and what a laser is. Timothy Zahn knows what an ion cannon would be and what an ion blast would do. And it's not just a sciencey word. And because he is a physicist, I do think he brings a little bit more, I don't want to say realism because I know Star Wars is still highly fictionalized sci-fi, but a consistency to the way the fights happen. I feel like when Timothy Zahn writes these battles in this book, I know the stakes, I know the odds, I understand when Thrawn has a trick up his sleeve. Nothing felt too ridiculous. And I think there's some use of language like when Thrawn looks at somebody and he sees the heat on their face that establishes his heat vision. That's an interesting way of communicating that. I think he just went a little further than other Star Wars books did that I've read. I haven't read a lot of the new canon, but I was pretty impressed.
I think you convinced me. I think a 4 sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and mostly like our criteria for a 4 is language is engaging and adds flavor to the characters in the world. Language creates an atmosphere for the book. I think it did. I think it achieved.
I would agree with that. Yeah, when you mentioned the fact like the warmth that he could see. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'd give that a 4. Personal preference, Ben. I'm going with a 5. I really enjoyed this book. I
am also going with a 5. And I'm surprised I'm going with a 5.
Yes.
Now, I think
normally Thrawn has not achieved the level of a 5.
I don't know if I used the rubric on Thrawn Alliances, but I probably would have gone with a 5 for Thrawn Alliances too. Just because like Vader and Thrawn is so fun. I love this new Thrawn. I think he is a great character. I'm much more interested in seeing a Thrawn movie than I am a movie for any of the other new characters they've created.
Yeah, you really soured my mood when you said that there was another Rey Star Wars movie.
Well, and the thing is, like, it's not the actress's fault. I know a lot of people have blamed the actors.
No, I thought that it was bullshit that one actress got all those death threats. It's like, she didn't write the character, guys, you fucking idiots. If you're at the point where you're sending death threats to an actor, you should maybe just quit doing anything. Quit going to see the movies. Quit breathing. I don't know.
Well,
like, there's something wrong with you if that's what you're spending your time doing.
I would go so far as to say, and the only reason I know this is book show, I don't want to talk about movies a ton, but like the original Star Wars, the characters are all archetypes, and you're kind of pre-programmed to like certain archetypes, and the actors weren't great. I mean, Harrison Ford stands out.
Harrison Ford stands out, especially in Return of the Jedi, when he clearly has started phoning it in and did not give a shit anymore.
I was going to say, he's the most fun to watch on screen, to be honest. And then you've got those old actors like Peter Cushing and Alec Guinness, and they're doing their best. But when it comes to Mark Hamill, he's gotten much better. I like Mark Hamill as an actor these days, but Luke Skywalker was not a great acting job. So like, the actors in the new movies are better than the actors in the old movies, at least at the time they were doing it. Like Daisy Ridley is a much better actress than Mark Hamill was an actor at the time he played Luke originally. And the writing is just not there to make Rey a compelling character to me. And so Thrawn, there's just such real potential there. And it seems like something that like Timothy Zahn is obviously excited about and passionate about. And it would be so easy to just rewrite the old Thrawn. But you can tell he had ideas for how to reboot this character, how to make it better. Yeah. And like his passion for the character really translated. Like he made me feel excited about Thrawn. And I'm like, I thought the old ones were stupid. Like I am not a Star Wars fanboy. I'm not tending to love anything Star Wars, quite the opposite, in fact, these days.
Yeah, I thought that the old Thrawn books had potential, but there was just a lot that was just not working with them. And you can listen to those episodes. We went into details on that shit.
Oh, and half the shit is, it's like, now I know he didn't listen to words about books at all, and I know like we're not the only geniuses capable of seeing those flaws, but like it's like he took the list of my comments and concerns and addressed them with this book.
Yeah, there's no like chapter after chapter of characters spinning their wheels while the other characters catch up to do something interesting.
Yeah, and having Eli, so I also want to say, like, not just Thrawn is created as a character that I like in this book, but Eli Vanto as well is as a Watson to Thrawn's Holmes. I liked Eli Vanto. I'm interested in what happens with him and his time in the Chiss Ascendancy. Like, they made me really enjoy the relationship between Thrawn and Vanto. I think that carries the book. Much like the relationship between Thrawn and Vader will. Like, he realized Thrawn needs to be less mysterious. When Thrawn was working with Pelion in those old books, I like Pelion and I liked Thrawn, but Thrawn was too much of a black box. Like, Pelion just saw results from Thrawn. He never really got the process. Thrawn was just like, I looked at their art and now I know what they do.
Yeah.
But in this one, he explains it to Eli, and there's a reason he's explaining it to Eli, and I thought that was so nice.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great.
Recommendation? Strength?
I'd probably go with a 4. I would say Star Wars fans will really like this. I don't know how much non-Star Wars fans will like this. I don't know if this is going to change anyone's mind on Star Wars necessarily, but...
If you were open to reading a Star Wars book at all, I'd say you could start with this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for sure. And if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Thrawn fan especially, like, if you liked any of the old stuff, if you know the name of this character and you had any fondness for it at all,
My Thrawn Naruto.
Mi Thrawn Naruto. But yeah, I'm surprised to say I'm recommending it so strongly as I am. I think we had the exact same scores.
Oh my god.
So that totals. Now, unfortunately for you, I saw your Goodreads review. You're very fond of changing your scores every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And this time you were just like, I'm giving it a 5, but I'm going to change it later. What was the point of that? Please explain to me. Because these points to a 5, they do not total.
No, they don't.
Now, to be clear, 5 stars. Like, we go with the Goodreads system because that's where we rate books mostly. 5 stars means, I would say, probably like 85 out of 100 or higher. That's getting very near towards like a life-changing book. So it's respectable to get only 4 stars, which is what I would say this gets.
Yeah.
76 out of 100, rounded up to 80, 4 out of 5. I think that's probably so high that people are going to yell at me about it.
I enjoyed the part where Thrawn told the Emperor that the Death Star was a stupid waste of time and money.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but Thrawn does find out about the Death Star, and he does confront the Emperor about it.
And the Emperor just kind of blows him off, like.
So Thrawn
tells
the Emperor that having a dynamic, highly mobile fleet of Star Destroyer class ships would be infinitely more militarily powerful than one ship that can blow up one planet in one system at a time. And the Emperor's like, yeah, but when they see it, though.
Yeah.
And that's
have you
all
ever tried to fight the moon? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I have.
Yeah.
Trust me. That's how I got
Pretty
these scars.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Think Jedi Master Yoda could fight a moon? Exactly. I'm gonna fuck him up if he ever shows back up here.
No, he's just gonna trick the son of his enemy into killing his father.
That would be immoral, though. The Jedi would never do something so horrible and disgusting. That's a me thing. That's an Emperor thing.
Yeah,
right?
the Jedis were like
right?
a pair of sneakers away from like feeding everybody punch that was supposed to take them to the spaceship. You know, they're not great people.
Turns out that Anakin actually did do nothing wrong. All those kids were murdered by the Jedi when he got there.
We're going to see Xenu, kids.
Anakin comes up to the temple and there's just dead children everywhere. He's like, oh my god, what happened? Oh my god.
Palpatine was right.
Yeah. The stormtroopers are just like, good job, sir. And he's like, no, this wasn't me. No. Oh my god.
It's all a case of mistaken identity. Anakin just got like caught with the lightsaber. So yeah, any other additional thoughts?
Yeah, I liked this book. I liked this book when I imagined it was part of the expanded universe Legends, because whenever I thought about, wow, where is this going to go, I just remembered that it's going to end with Rey Star Wars and everyone else that you know is dead, and she's like, I'm Rey Star Wars, and the credits go to black, and you're like, oh, this is going nowhere. This is literally heading towards a dead end.
Nate literally said to me today, we were talking about the Star Wars movies because we were talking about this book. He goes, but there's nowhere for them to go after these movies. Like, how are they ever going to make another one?
There's nowhere for them to go. It's literally, let's retread the fucking Jedi Order being reconstructed, which Luke already did, and he tried to murder a child.
Well, this time she's not going to do that.
Yeah. Why are we even bothering? Just fuck off.
But yeah, I don't know. I haven't, like, I'll be real with you. I saw the 3 mainline movies, and I saw Rogue One. Did not see the Han Solo movie. I have not seen any of the shows.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Good for you. But I like this as a standalone book. In the vein of Star Wars, it's like it's gonna go towards a dead end. So
Oh, look, I said I would watch a Thrawn movie, and I would. It would be fun to see this adapted, but I'm long past the point of my life where I need to see my favorite things adapted. Like, I don't need everybody to know how cool Thrawn is. I'm fine if they...
I need to know how cool, everyone to know how cool it is so they know how cool I am, Ben.
For liking it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about that anymore.
Oh my god.
I'm fine if they want to use the books as a experimental idea playground. I think that's great. Go nuts. Maybe I'll keep reading the books. I'm fine with just reading the books.
Maybe they should have done that before they made the movies. They could have found the stuff that worked and then just adapted that.
I feel like people generally like the TV shows.
Yeah, I don't care about what most people's opinions are.
Well, but I feel like most people...
That's true.
I feel like most people generally didn't like the movies, but I've never heard anybody say anything bad about The Mandalorian. I think the Obi-Wan series did okay. It's just like, okay, so the reason I didn't watch it, same reason I didn't watch The Rings of Power. It might be funny. Now, the reason I didn't watch The Rings of Power is because I'm sitting on that for 10 years, and then I'm going to do a reaction channel where I say lifelong Lord of the Rings fan watches Rings of Power for the first time. And that's my retirement. That's my whole plan. My 401k is in shambles. This is what I'm banking on.
I hope that have them invest in Bitcoin, Ben. That'll get you out of the hole that you're in.
So, but no, it's like the reason I didn't watch it, I know I'm not going to like it. Like really, did anyone think Amazon was going to do that right? Really?
Did they not do it right, Ben? Is that...
From what I understand, they took some liberties, and I don't mean the Black Hobbits. If you have a problem with that, you're an asshole. I mean, I think they just didn't follow like the canon, basically, of the Silmarillion. And
God damn it. That's all we got, Ben.
Personally, I don't care.
I need the part where Frodo and Sam finally kiss.
I didn't need another Lord of the Rings adaptation. I don't. It's fine.
Yeah, we still have to get a good Hobbit adaptation, right, Ben?
I think I can't remember. I could be telling rumors here, but I heard that the Tolkien estate, the whole reason Amazon got to do this is because the Tolkien estate was like, hell nah. Peter Jackson wanted to adapt the Silmarillion. He wanted to do the Second Age stuff, and they were like, absolutely not.
After what you did to The Hobbit? Yeah.
I don't think they were like super thrilled with how he did Lord of the Rings, truth be told.
That's probably true.
Because he changed a lot. He didn't change a lot.
He got rid of Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadillo.
I was more thinking like in 3 hours, right? Or however long the director's cuts are, like 4 hours almost. We couldn't do anything with the Scouring of the Shire. Saruman falls off a building. That's what happened?
Hey, in the original cut, he just doesn't exist after the second movie.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, what's his nuts? The guy who played him was actually really
Christopher
pissed
Lee
off.
was.
Yeah, he was pissed that they cut that from the theater cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be too. Like,
I remember he said I showed up to the premiere, looking forward to seeing my part, and then I found out I wasn't in the movie. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Star Wars isn't even an adaptation. The books are adaptations. So
yeah, really, we need more Star Wars adaptations, less Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know.
That's the takeaway.
Yep. More Star Wars books, less Star Wars movies.
Perfect.
Stick to what you're good at.
Yeah, and you can turn them into little radio play productions on Audible. It's like I'm watching the movie.
You can get Ray Porter to play Thrawn. And Arihnda Pryce.
I was about to say that. Oh, God, kill me now. All right, are we good?
Yeah. So I want to do the shout outs. We got to shout out our Patreons, our yacht plan tier patrons. All right. So we have, as always, Brad, aka Isekai Sensei Sama, of the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast. We have Jamie of the If You Want the Gravy movie blog. And not movie. I always say movie, but he does other stuff. Does soda, cereal, books. He does books. I mean, that's our thing, but yeah, I guess he can do them too. That's fine. You know, whatever. And then we got Spooky Shy, of course, and John Old Bierce, author of The Mage Errant. And you can check out his Patreon, where he's always doing short stories, new ones each month, and the readers get to vote. Or you could go buy his many books that are good and published author. He doesn't need to be doing this. He's still buying Nate breakfast sandwiches all these years later.
Man, that extortion, that was like the long game, wasn't it? I did not expect this to continue this long, but thank you. I will use this to buy breakfast sandwiches and coffee, so.
But then, yeah, if you want to reach out to us, not really doing Twitter anymore. We do have a blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja, which contains links to all of our other stuff. Best place to reach us right now is on our Discord, where we are always there, talking to people, answering whatever questions you might have. Got an Instagram, Words About Books Podcast. And if you would rather drop us an email, you could do that at wordsaboutbookspod@gmail.com. And of course, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/WABpod. That's where all those people gave money. If you want to be in that list, you could do that too. I'll shout you out and your project until there's too many of you to do that.
Which, that won't be a problem. Let's be real.
Let's be real. Challenge me.
Yeah. All right. Are we good? With it at this point, like, let's see what happens.
Yep. So what happens is, Cat, come here. Cat.
Yeah, I can hear that motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't know.
My daughter this morning, she heard us telling the cat to go away, and so she started saying, "Go away."
And then
she
she
started
bullied the
walking-
cat.
Yeah, she was putting her hand on him and trying to push him away, saying, "Go away." It was the best thing ever.
She sumo wrestled your cat.